Good evening and welcome to the October 5th meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. Before we get started, a couple things. If you have a cell phone or other electronic device, if you could please silence it, greatly appreciated. If you're here to speak on any of the applications, and we encourage you to do so, we just ask you to take the podium, give us your name for the recording secretary. If you have to leave the podium to look at a plan or to point something out, take the mic with you. We are being recorded by FCTV. All right. First up on our agenda tonight is the minutes of the September 28th meeting. Anyone get those? Betsy?
So I'm trying to raise the bar here.
Okay.
So I took these, and the corrections I have are in
Oh, wow.
the typing in the correct
You can
mode.
actually read them.
What a good secretary.
So I just have a couple of comments. One is, those of you who know, who live in those areas, how do you spell Terhune? T-E-R?
T-E-R-H-E-U-N.
Okay, so I just have spelling. I know it was spelled wrong.
Terhune?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, we were talking about disturbance in the riverfront. It says 15%, but what I said was, I might have said 15%, but what I should have said was 5,000 square feet. So, and those are the only corrections I have. Which I'll do.
I have a couple small corrections just in terms of, typos and things.
Okay, so with those I'll move, unless there are any more. I'll move that we adopt as discussed.
Second.
A motion by Betsy and a second by Mary to accept as discussed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Okay, request for determination of applicability. If you're here for an RDA, what you want to hear is a negative determination. Means you can go ahead with your project. If it's a positive, then you might need more information, or it might be to the next application. So first up is Jan Walsh, 34, Amvets Ave, Falmouth, Mass, with permission to construct a 15-foot by 20-foot brick patio, remove an existing 10-foot by 10-foot concrete pad, and replace with a shed in the same footprint. Remove 2 existing brick patios, install a dry well, native mitigation plantings, and the associated excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending a -2 under the bylaw and -3 under the state with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Courtney, second by Betsy. Any other comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Bernice Kramer, 4 Park Road, Woods Hole, Mass, with permission to remove a 24-foot section of stone wall, construct a 20-foot by 20-foot gravel parking area, replace stone walkway in the same location, install stone steps and 1-foot stone wall at parking edge, required native mitigation plantings and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
Second.
Motion by
I just need
Courtney,
Aaron here for a
and
minute.
who's this? Second?
Maury.
Maury, and the second by Maury. So, okay. Any other comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Oyster Pond Environmental Trust, care of Wendy Bislam. Fells Pond Road, map 48-10-009-000C and map 48-10-010-089. Oyster Pond Road, map 48-10-032-46. Ransom Road, map 48-11-101. 010-023 and map 48-11-009-000. Falmouth, Mass, with permission to provide a plan for creating and approving public access that includes improvements to half-mile of existing trails, construct a half-mile of new trails, to create a loop trail system, install 3 parking spaces, areas, kiosk, bike rack at the end of Fells Road, and to erect trail signs. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, OPET was working with Alex and Jack from the 300 Committee to establish the trail system, so both Alex and Jack walked that site with Wendy. So we are recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
Second.
Courtney and a second by Mary. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? By Wendy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. William and Susan
Thank you, Wendy.
Zazinski, 114 Silver Beach Ave, North Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise the existing house and construct, that's R-A-Z-E, the existing house and construct a new house in a smaller footprint. Jen?
Yes, we are recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
Second.
Motion by Courtney, a second by Betsy. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Tom Rosato, 190 Edgewater Drive East, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to redevelop and expand the existing rear patio, add an outdoor shower, construct a new second-floor addition, install a second-floor patio in front of the house, install cobblestones along the driveway, and replace the driveway surface with shelves, plant ornamental shrubs, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continue until October 19th.
So moved. Second.
So that's Maury and a second by Betsy. Okay,
Suggest that technically it's an outside rinse station.
thank you, Courtney. Very much appreciate that. What was the date on that?
Otherwise, they need to
19th.
put a
October
drain in the
19th, sir.
sewer.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? So to continue to October 19th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Continued request for determination of applicability. Yep, 29 Charles River Road, Walkway, Mass. I've read these already into the record. There's two of them. And George Crocker, 29 Charles River Road, for permission to install a 5-foot buffer strip, and so on. And they're requesting a continuance, Jen?
Yes, they're requesting a continuance until October 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Betsy and a second by Mary.
Maury.
I'm sorry, Maury. Any other comments, questions?
Maury. Mary.
Comments, questions? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, so the vote is to continue to October 19th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Next up was a request for a hearing under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authority of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. First up tonight, we have Stephen and Mary Kramer, 60 Kroll Road, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise, R-A-Z-E, the existing dwelling and construct a single-family 4-bedroom house with attached 3-car garage, porches, install paver driveway, shed, Title V sewage disposal system, utilities, dry wells, native mitigation plantings, replant the existing path, and create a new path with stairs in platform, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've met with both Mike and Teresa yesterday, and Mike on the site today. There are going to be revisions to this plan, in particular where the existing vegetation line is on the north side of the property, as well as the mitigation planting plan is going to be revised, but they wanted to present to see if the board had any additional questions so they could come in next time and put a final.
Fair enough.
I think the project itself, the house construction is fine as far as that goes. It's just the planting requirements and placement of them.
Good evening, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant along with Teresa Sprague from Blue Flax Design. We represent the applicants Stephen and Mary Kramer. Mr. and Mrs. Kramer in the audience, if there's any specific questions to direct to them. The Kramers have acquired the property a few years ago with plans to redevelop it and build a new house in place of the existing cottage structure that is currently on the site. The lot is just over 80,000 square feet. It has frontage on Bourne's Pond, which we've designated as a salt pond, so it's land under a salt pond. There's a narrow strip of coastal beach along the edge of the pond. There's a finger-like projection of salt marsh at the south side of the property, and then there's an additional salt marsh on this side of the property. There is an eroding coastal bank, and then there is some land subject to coastal stone flowage, but it in effect is on the bank. There is a boundary between a non-hazard flood zone known as X and a velocity zone, VE 14. So in addition to the FEMA flood zone, we've also shown a 25-foot parallel line designated as the Falmouth wetland regulation V zone. All of that is effectively on the coastal bank. The proposed work is in the buffer of these wetland resources. The designated no disturbance zone A's are shown on the plan, and the associated outer buffer zone B's are also shown on the plan. This is the house construction is a typical redevelopment project in accordance with your regs at 10.18. We submitted supplemental plans that show our calculation for impervious surfaces, both existing conditions and post-construction conditions. We summarize those on the plan. The net result of the work associated with the house construction is that there's a requirement for just over 2,000 square feet of mitigation planting. And in addition, there are some trees that would be required to be cut in the B zone to make way for the new house. So we also tabulated the tree removal and also the tree mitigation in the form of 9 new trees. And Teresa Sprague's plan has the detail on that. Teresa's plan also has the detail on the proposed mitigation. Now, when we met with staff yesterday in the office and then again today, the shape and location of the mitigation, not the overall area required, is going to change. That's why we need a continuance, so we can work through that with your staff. So there'll be a revision that still results in the required mitigation, but it'll be in different places on the lot. The septic system is outside jurisdiction. There's a long driveway. We're proposing dry wells. There's a dry well detail on one of the other plans. That is the redevelopment part of the application, or the first element of the project. There's 2 other elements. The next one that I'll discuss is a proposal to put timber access stairs over the coastal bank down to the beach. There used to be, and there still is, remnants, and there's a path if you tried to walk through here to where there used to be a set of stairs, and there's some timbers left, but the stairway is no longer there. There's a sign, there's a no trespassing sign that I believe Mr. Kramer put up just to discourage people from walking here. So we're proposing to abandon that location for a stairway, but would like to move it to a different location, which is here. There's a cross-section showing a landing midway, and then it terminates on the beach. We positioned it in this location so that it wouldn't terminate on the salt marsh. We shifted it away from the salt marsh, slightly higher up the bank, so the final landing point is not on the salt marsh, but on to the beach. It's typical construction you've seen on other cross-sections, handrails. Currently, if you did walk through here, there's a grassy path at the very top of the coastal bank that would lead to where the stairs used to be. We'd like to shift that to a different place and allow that to regrow naturally. We had proposed some mitigation there, but after meeting with Jen, we decided not to propose mitigation. It's stable, grassy, not turf lawn, but like natural grasses, and it's showing some signs of just reestablishing itself in this whole woodland area. I've designated on the plan a place where you can walk through the woods. There's no real need to do any work. By that I mean no clearing, no mowing, no tree cutting. You would just walk through the woodland to this location, and it's all leaf litter, it's stable, and I think after some time of walking over it, it would just create a footpath. There's no proposed work to create the footpath. There's a note on here that says that. That's the second element of the proposal. And finally, the third element, portions of the coastal bank have sandy soil, erosion exposure. There's no vegetated cover in some areas, a significant area actually, here. And the Kramers would like to be proactive and try to stabilize that so that there's no further erosion using soft solutions that Teresa will go through in her presentation. I think that sums up the proposal in general and the house redevelopment aspect, and Teresa's here to go through the mitigation plan and how we're proposing to stabilize the bank. And then we're both here for questions.
Thanks, Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Teresa Sprague, Blue Flax Design. Mike did a pretty good job going over the mitigation, and as Jennifer explained, we're going to be making some revisions to the mitigation planting plan. In particular, we're going to be removing the proposed mitigation in the path area, which, as Jen and Mike both pointed out, is currently a mix of Pennsylvania sedge and Deschampsia flexuosa. Black huckleberry, which is a significant ground cover throughout the entire property, but particularly in this area, is currently regenerating into that path area as the footpath has been used infrequently over the past 5 years or so. So the goal there would just be to allow it to naturally revegetate. Overall, the plant community here is typical pitch pine oak plant community. The ground cover that's currently existing throughout the property in the grassy areas is all Pennsylvania sedge and Deschampsia flexuosa with ferns. So a really healthy native grass ground cover layer. It's the Kramer's goal to let it remain in that state in the grassy areas. So areas that you see that are not showing tree cover, you can see in here and in here, you can see it's quite a well-canopied lot, would remain in that state. And I'm happy to pass around a couple of photos that show the existing areas to the north and the south of the property. So with the shift, and we will readjust some of the mitigation, remove it from the path, and then along the north side of the property, there's an area that has been mulched where we are still proposing to plant trees, but we'll be shifting some of the mitigation plantings from this area and bringing it down to create a wider vegetative buffer strip and then along the north side, on the south side of the property. So this is the north side of the property where the trees are proposed. Yeah. And those are, of course, for the file. So we'll be making those adjustments and presenting those adjustments and those revisions to you next time. But what I really wanted to focus on in this presentation is the state of the coastal bank and the bank stabilization proposal that we made. So I did submit a bank stabilization plan, land management bank stabilization plan. And in that, on pages 3 and 4, there's some photos of the existing conditions on the coastal bank. And as Mike pointed out, I've been watching and observing this bank, researching this since late last winter, because there's interesting patterns here. I know that Mike has pointed out that there is a velocity zone in this area, but this is in the upper reaches of Bourne's Pond. We know that there are some flushing issues in Bourne's Pond and some nitrogen loading issues here. So in looking at what's happening with the salt marsh and the salt marsh dieback in this area, if you look on page 3 of the land management plan, you'll see these fingers of peat and salt marsh that are just protruding. So the salt marsh is basically dying back and the peat's just washing away. So in investigating and trying to figure out why that's happening, because I don't think there's a significant velocity area in here, so I don't see major storm action washing the peat away. The only conclusion that I can come to is that this is an effect of some of the nitrogen issues in this pond.
Should we go back and file?
Having said that, where there is healthy salt marsh in place is directly to the south of the property and then along the north of the property, and of course that's the areas where the bank is most stable, as we would suspect. What I did note over the course of the spring and summer is that the salt marsh on the south portion of the bank is actually starting to expand, which is a really positive thing, and that was where we came up with the recommendation to move the stairs away from the area where the salt marsh is currently healthy and happy and expanding, move them further north to an area where there's currently no salt marsh regrowing. But you can see in the photographs on page 4, the areas of the coastal bank that are directly landward of the areas where salt marsh has eroded is where we're seeing significant bank erosion. And what it appears to have happened is with the salt marsh degradation and just tidal action, there's been some scarping at the toe. Over time, the toe is scarped, and then the bank has slumped. The good news is the bank seems to have found a stable angle of repose. So we don't see any major scarping continuing to happen at the toe, so that's a good thing. The bad thing is that in the slumping, there's already very minimal ground cover layer and shrub layer on this bank. There is a significant canopy layer, but with no ground cover layer and no shrub layer, there's nothing there to slow water down. The bank is basically just, all the mineral soils have washed away and we've just got exposed to sand. And you can see in the photographs that what also has happened is the trees have been undermined, roots have been exposed, the trees are toppling, and as they topple, they're pulling the bank down along with them. So what we're proposing to do here, I know Mike mentioned soft solutions, but technically this isn't a soft solution situation. We're not proposing fiber rolls or coconut or anything on this bank. I don't think it's necessary. The toe is stable and the angle of repose is stable. So what we are proposing to do is flush cut those trees where the roots are exposed and they're in imminent danger of toppling and taking more of the bank with them. There's a few pitch pines and a few oak trees, and you can see those in the photos. The roots are totally exposed. These trees are dead, and it's only a matter of time before they topple over. We'll flush cut, leave what root is remaining in place. All the trees on the bank that are intact and healthy and the root systems are not exposed will remain exactly as they are. Then what we're proposing to do is actually use a blown-in compost mix onto this bank. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with this method. We've just started really using it on the Cape. We just did a bank erosion project up in Chatham where we've been really successful with this, but they've been using it on the North Shore, and Mass DOT uses it in all of their bank stabilization projects. Basically, we bring in a compost mulch mix. The organic material and the biological activity in this compost mix basically causes it to act as a blanket. So once that compost mix is blown in onto the bank, it's stable, so there's no need for coconut, straw, or anything like that to cover it. And what the other positive part of this is, we can mix seed mix directly into the blown in compost mix, so we actually get better germination. And in this case, where there's no organic material left on the eroding parts of the bank, it really provides some of that organic material that will help get a ground cover layer established. And then, as we know, once a ground cover layer is established, roots grow, they die, and we get more organic material in the bank, which will support some other vegetation. So we would propose to blow in this compost mix, give the seed mix an opportunity to germinate and get established, and then come in and plant the new vegetation in the shrub layer that belongs on this bank. So, for instance, we would be using arrowwood viburnum, bayberry, black chokeberry, and summer sweet planted all throughout the bank in areas where there's currently no understory layer at all. And I think that will solve the problem. What we'd like to see, obviously, is more salt marsh growth in the area. My concern is with the lack of peat and the little bit that's washing away, that's going to take a significant amount of time. But where it is growing in particular is down in this area. So if we can encourage more salt marsh growth, then that's a bigger problem than just what's happening on this particular site. I think we'll start to, I think that we won't have the erosion issues. And I also think that because of the salt marsh dieback, and then this scarping that happened after the salt marsh died away, that's what's caused the slumping and the subsequent erosion. It seems to be stable, and the angle of proposed seems to be stable now.
Thanks, Teresa. Jen?
Mr. Chairman, could I have one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
I meant to mention this. The Kramers have owned the property now for a few years, and they're very much in tune with how sensitive the area is. They bought it because they love Bourne's Pond, and they're very much wanting to do the right things, as I think the application shows. And I didn't point out that one of the things that they did do, the house is bigger, but they were very much aware that the small structure was closer to the bank. So part of the application also included shifting the structure back 15 to 20 feet, so that from the top of that bank as well.
Thanks, Mike. Jen, anything else?
No, only that Mike will be doing revisions on, like I said, the north side to kind of call the existing vegetated area. We're going to kind of wrap it around the tree line. And then I'll be working with Teresa to modify the mitigation plantings. I understand the desire to use the hollies on the north side to act kind of like a screen between the two properties. I don't have any concerns with that, but that area cannot be used for mitigation because it's used to replace the trees that are being removed. Also, Teresa, I'd like to talk to you about possibly relocating the holly that's in the driveway on the other side of that big cedar. So I know that you had said you want to try to harvest some of the huckleberry that's on site in the area of the proposed garage and use that so
Yes.
you have the native plants on site.
Yeah,
You may want to look
transplanting.
at that holly too. I think the cedar's just too big.
I think
It is. It'd be nice that it's too big, but the holly could definitely be transplanted.
Yes, and I have discussed that with the Kramers, and they were definitely open to
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah. I mean, just use it over where you're screening it. I mean, just an added screen over there.
Yeah.
So I'll be working with them to modify that planting plan. Other than that, we talked about the stairs, the location of the stairs. I understand now why they're being located where they are. We talked about possibly shifting the bottom so it didn't terminate right in the water and maybe kind of turn the stairs and terminate on the beach. But if you do that, they'd be stepping right off of the staircase onto the last like little part of salt marsh that's right in the middle. So we kind of decided in the field today that my idea wasn't so great. So I have no other comments.
Okay, thanks, Jen. Courtney?
No questions.
Kristen?
I'm just wondering how many of these trees are going to be flush cut on the bank?
So right now, I've identified 3. So I've identified 3 on the bank. They're marked with an X in the orange area where the bank erosion's occurring. Those are, and they're all about, you can see in the photographs that I provided in the plan on page 34. They're relatively small caliber trees, and they're dead, and you can see that the tree roots are completely exposed.
And so those roots will stay?
They'll stay. Yes, absolutely.
And I guess you know how I feel about the herbicides, even if they're wetland approved, that I always feel it's better to hand pull than put an herbicide.
Right, so the only invasive plant species that we've identified on the bank right now is Scotch broom. My concern is just pulling anything on this bank right now is not a good idea, so I'd rather leave the root system in place. It's a simple cut and a very simple wipe application, so obviously the goal is to not affect any non-target species. There's not a significant amount of Scotch broom, so getting it at this time seems to make a lot of sense. There's a little bit of bittersweet and a little bit of greenbrier growing in the A zone at the top of the coastal bank. Again, very easy to manage at this time before it becomes a real problem in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Is that Kristen? Thank you. Maureen?
What's going to happen to the oaks and the pines in the Vista corridor?
They're being pruned according to Falmouth wetlands regulation pruning regs. I believe we spelled them all out in here.
Okay, just to make sure.
So, they'll be pruned according to the regulations, shrubs no lower than 5 feet at grade, and the appropriate pruning for trees.
Okay, I just want to make sure the health of the trees, only because you're already having a problem with that bank.
Right.
And you want to hold it as much as
Yeah,
possible.
that's why I wanted to make it clear that all trees that are intact and healthy will remain exactly as they are, so.
And it's actually one of the most dense areas where the Vista's going through,
I know.
which,
I know, it just happens to be where the house is located and the porch is located, but I think we can easily achieve the goals for the Vista within the regulations, so I don't think that's.
we can condition that Mark's on site or something when it takes place or something like that. Next question. You made a comment that the healthy salt marsh is to the south, and it's actually increasing.
Yeah, it looks like it
Yeah.
appears to be growing in that area, yes.
So my concern is that the end of the stairs is right at where the salt marsh is. So
Yeah.
if it's trying to increase any more, now you've inhibited it, so.
I understand, and we actually did talk about this
That's
at
why I
length
said
with
turning
Jennifer.
them and.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-win. What happens is, as we get a little bit further north, the bank gets steeper,
Yeah.
and it literally becomes physically impossible to build the stairs without them being out in the water. So, the property owners would like to have some access, and at this time, that appears to be the best access.
Is there going to be some kind of open grading, Jen? So if that salt marsh does want to migrate, okay. And it's also in a V zone, so my other concern is, that it doesn't blow out of the
We could make the bottom part
removable.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay.
If you need to condition the bottom stairway being removed, that's certainly something we talked about.
Okay. Let's see what else I had. Mike, for you, you have on here that you're proposing a well,
Yes,
and there's no septic within 100 feet?
yes,
Okay, is there a house on that lot? Because Lot B, David Thomas?
there is.
Okay, so he's not going to be affected by
No,
your...
in fact, I did the work on David Thomas's land.
perfect.
And I know where the septic is.
Thank you. And how much increase in the structure in the 100-foot no disturbance zone? Is it on the plan?
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of notes on the plan. If you look at the area of existing impervious in the
Didn't
no
say
disturbance zone,
disturbance.
note 1.
Yep.
One
Got it,
to-
Mike, sorry.
Yeah,
I got it,
okay.
sorry. And I think, you're concerned that maybe the decline in the salt marsh is from nitrogen. Have you proposed a denitrifying system on this lot?
We have not. The system's in excess of, it's like 150 feet away. We didn't even consider, we didn't think it would measurably change the conditions on Bourne's Pond. We all know that Bourne's Pond's about to have alterations at the inlet, so hopefully the flushing improves.
Do you know how fast nitrogen moves in the ground?
I have
On
no
an
idea.
average?
No.
Depending on the soils, which is the
Well,
sandy,
this is
looking at the
sandy,
coastal bank?
yes,
It
yes.
moves 3 feet a day. So it will only take you with 150 feet. It won't take very long for that nitrogen to be in Bourne's Pond. I think with the size and scope of this project, it would be something to think about and maybe talk with the client. It is, I know you say it's de minimis, but we have a thing also called cumulative effect. And if we're trying to improve Bourne's Pond, I think it's everybody's job to try to improve it. As little as it might seem, every little bit helps. So I would strongly encourage you to do that.
I'll talk to the
There's so much new technology. 5 years ago, you know, we had like 2 choices that were sort of good. So I hope you look at that, because you're going to be continued. Let's see, what else I had here. The cedar, you already explained, you're not going to move that. Septic denite, the mulch, the compost. I tried to find where they purchase this from.
Yeah.
Where
So,
do they?
The company that will subcontract to do this work is called Ground Escapes,
Yeah?
and they're out of Rentham, Massachusetts.
Yeah?
The technical name, or what they're calling this, and it's not one of my favorite words, they call it earth blanket. And that's basically what it is, it's an earth blanket, but I know sometimes that could sound a little hippie or something, so it's kind of a funny name, but that's basically what it is.
Okay, so my question to you is, I'm really concerned about if it's got weed seed in it, if it's been fumigated,
Be
if
happy
they've...
to give you the specs. It's actually, he has his compost tested regularly, and it meets all of the specifications for the, I don't know if you're familiar with Elaine Ingham and the food soil web, for nematodes, bacteria count.
I'm not worried about that
fungi.
as much as I'm worried about Japanese knotweed.
Oh,
and-
my gosh, yes, absolutely. And I can certainly give you references from other projects that this has been used on, and I can give you references from Mass DOT if you'd like to see.
Well, I'd like to see projects, not just references,
Sure.
because
Yep,
the
absolutely.
issue is that, once it gets established, we know it's almost impossible to eradicate.
We
And,
understand, yeah, this isn't compost that they're digging up from the local DPW dumping site, like they're.
but the state highways, they're using it now, and one of the biggest problems with state highways, if you go down them, a lot of them, they all are wonderfully vegetated with Japanese knotweed.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's because there's no budget to maintain things, so but I completely understand your concerns, and I'd be happy to give you project information, get you in touch with.
I think it would be good to have that in the file.
Sure.
Because we really need to
Yeah.
know how they're eradicating the weed seed, if it's through heat or baking or whatever they're doing to
Gotcha.
get rid of
Yep,
it.
Absolutely. Not a
And
problem.
know what the weed seed ratio is. Is it like 2% or whatever?
Yep, absolutely.
And, okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen. Mary?
I don't have any questions.
That's it?
I'm just gonna, I have a question, another question, but I'm just gonna follow up on Maury. And you said you were using a project in Chatham
Chatham,
now?
yes.
Maybe you're probably, I'm assuming you're doing some kind of monitoring?
Yes,
On what's coming
absolutely.
back, and maybe we could have the monitoring report.
How long has it been
What's
in
coming out.
Chatham?
So we've just, it was just installed this summer, so it's currently germinating. The seed mix that we've used is currently germinating at this time. But what it allowed us to do is, it allowed us to, in this particular case in Chatham, avoid entirely tearing out the bank and all of the native vegetation that was there in order to install core logs. And it also allowed us to not have to cut vegetation in order to lay a coconut straw blanket down over it. So that's been the positive parts of this. But yeah, I'd be happy to share that information.
Okay,
with
that'd
you.
be great. Thank you.
Okay, my other question is, I know people don't like this at the base of their banks,
Yeah,
but really, if you had the trees that get undercut and fall down,
yep,
they do, the fact is, even though almost all the time you go out there, it's absolutely calm, there's a time
sure.
in a storm
Yeah,
where the waves are coming in there, and it acts as a natural buffer.
yep,
So, I understand people like things to look nice and tidy,
yeah,
but those dead trees act as a natural soft solution, if you like,
Yes.
a natural solution.
Yep, as a matter of fact, part of what we did in Chatham and what I would propose doing here is the cut material that we are removing would be laid down on the bank and almost act as a scaffolding. So it would help, the compost that's blown in actually adhere. So that's not a problem at all. I think it's actually the right way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, and I like that. I like this. This is a beautiful site, and it's a beautiful bank. It's nice to get at the edge of that and look down. But I was surprised when I walked along and went, whoa, look at those patches of sand.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really strange because even in the areas where we do have the vegetation cover, there's still really very minimal shrub layer in here, and there's very minimal ground cover. Further to the north, there's a much healthier ground cover
Yeah.
and shrub layer. To the south, obviously on that property, there's been some erosion issues, and I know some attempts have been made to plant fence edge and things like that there, somewhat successfully. So I think with the mix of this compost and seeding, and then planting woody vegetation, native shrub, maritime plant community, we should be able to get this bank revegetated.
yeah, this will be an interesting site to follow over time.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's all.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks.
Betsy. Jamie?
Not for nothing, what are the 6-inch posts?
Well, they're ancient, they're cedar
Old
posts. It may have been a field at one point, and they're just remnant cedar, as you know, will last for a very long time. They're just there.
You'll leave
Maybe
them?
Steve knows something about it, probably not.
No, I mean, they're regularly spaced, it looks so like a ribbon of a fence, but we have no idea for sure.
You gonna leave them?
Yeah.
They're really good.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark?
Is there any expectation that they might choose to put a dock in?
No, in fact, it's a velocity zone, and the
Okay.
performance standards for
Yeah.
docks and velocity zones are very difficult to overcome.
That's good. That's all.
Short answer is no.
So we're continuing,
Mike, I have a quick question. You don't have an outdoor rinse station?
There wasn't one proposed.
Okay, all right. And there's
Show the
no
AC.
patio or deck proposed, it's just gonna be the screened porch? Okay, I just, little things, you look at a plan,
We showed
Here's
the
an
AC.
opportunity.
Oh, I know you did. And your generator pad and everything else, we already checked that.
And the shed is probably gonna need a variance because it's on the front of the house.
We already got it.
Excellent.
Okay,
Did you already get your Board of Health
I
permit?
will work with Mike and Teresa to revise the mitigation configuration, for lack of a better term. And how long do you need, Mike?
We'd like to-
Yeah.
19th.
On the 19th?
We'll have it,
Okay.
Teresa tells me she's gonna try to meet with you as soon as possible, and we're gonna get your plans a week
Get to me
prior.
quick. Well, we're meeting on Friday anyway, so,
See if we can shoot over there after.
yeah, that's fine.
Should I talk to you?
West of the applicant,
Where do we need?
I make a motion
Oh,
to
Jenny.
continue this to the 19th.
Second.
we have a motion by Betsy, and a second by Mary, to continue to the 19th. Any other comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Teresa. Continued request for hearing under notice of intent. Shelby and Janet Madari, 4 Nichols Road, Rockport, Mass. For permission to remove the existing concrete retaining wall and replace with approximately 85 linear feet of vinyl sheet pile bulkhead landward of concrete wall. Install insert bulkhead stairs. Remove vegetation and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, landscaping. Ken?
Yeah, Betsy, can you read me the form? I think you were the only one that wasn't here.
I wasn't.
I don't think Maureen
Maybe
is here.
I wasn't.
Maury.
I wasn't.
Oh, Betsy and Maury.
Mark, Jamie, Mary, Russ, Kristen, Courtney.
Okay, we continued this because I think it was just the one item to see if the Board of Selectmen would sign off because they need to access the property over the town landing. We did get an email back from the town manager's office that says that council, because it's access and not construction, says that you should approve it first or render a decision on the project prior to them. I have that email in the, put it in the file, there's not a copy of it in the file, and So I don't think there were any other outstanding issues. Courtney, can you pass that down to Betsy? Other than the access over town property.
Mr. Chairman, I presented everything, I think, at the last meeting. We went over it, answered questions, and we just continued it for that one reason. So unless you want me to re-describe anything.
I'm good with it. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
Well, that's what we were holding it up for,
Yeah,
so.
that's what we're holding up for, so.
Motion to close the hearing and,
You got it.
close the hearing. Take it under advisement.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Jamie and a second by Mary, take the hearing, to close the hearing, take it under advisement. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Thanks, Mike.
Don't need this. Cash.
Unanimous, remember to present. Okay, next up on the agenda tonight is enforcement issues. We're gonna take these in kind of chunks, so the first one we have are, the first two we'll take together, Jane and Robert Furr, 22 and 26 Shoreview Avenue, and Lot 504, Shoreview Ave, map 39-02C-000-504, East Falmouth, Mass., for clearing, altering wetland resource area in a buffer to a resource areas as defined in FWR 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00. The second one, Jane and Robert Furr, 26 Shoreview Ave, Lot 504, Shoreview Avenue, East Falmouth, Mass., for building upon and altering a wetland resource area from a buffer to a resource area as defined in FW 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00. So those are the first two.
Okay,
Jen.
Mr. Chairman, you may want to take your plan out that I gave you so people can kind of understand. I know the board's kind of curious why there's so many on that road at one night. So the Conservation Commission.
Hang on a second,
was
Jen.
called-
You guys want to just pass this down
Yep.
and back and forth, or?
So all the properties
I
were
want
labeled by the
everybody to
different
see
property
that.
owners. So we received a call on
You want me to pin it up on the wall?
the 8th of September that a significant amount of clearing was going on along Shoreview Ave. We were told who the construction company was. We called that company, ordered them to cease and desist, and then found out the next day they were back on the site. We sent Officer Brooks down. She located the vehicle, which we were told what the license plate was. She had them, the gentleman from CR Construction, bring her to the property that they were hired from. You have a statement from Officer Brooks in front of you. That led them to the Furr's property. There are two issues going on with that. One, there's been a significant amount of clearing over the years on that property. You are looking at an aerial you have in front of you as well. There shows some vegetation that's right there, Maury, along next to the property on the house, and then the property next to the house. That's currently lawn, and that was a wetland. So what we would ask at this time, and it's what the staff is going to recommend throughout all of these enforcement orders, is to continue them, allow the staff to request access to the property from the property owner, have the staff go out there so that we can adequately document what was going on. That's only fair to one, the property owner, and fair to the commission. And then report back to you in probably by the 26th of October, since your hearing is pretty full on the 19th and you're not meeting on the 12th, and give our recommendation. Most of these recommendations, particularly for this property, is going to be obviously be restoration plan, a new plan with the correct wetland line. We're going to want that wetland line documented with hydric soils because you can't document it with vegetation anymore. It's no longer there. And, just straight enforcement order. And that's all the way down, sure of you have, but that's going to be our recommendation.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put a motion on the table that we continue this enforcement hearing until the 26th of October with the letter that
Well,
staff
I don't know if
requests.
the property owner, I know there are a lot of property owners here, I don't know if this particular property owner is there, and we would ask them to contact us so that we can gain access to the property.
All right, that the letter would
Yep.
would state,
There's also
please
another
contact
issue when Mark was out there and was taking photos from the street. It's kind of hard. There was a floating dock system out there. I don't know if it's on this property or the next, so we just want to confirm that it's not. We did send them a letter regarding the dock. If it's not on their property, perfect. It's very difficult to tell out
Right,
there.
so my motion would include that the letter would request access for the staff so that you can report back to us.
Well, the staff has already reached out to the property owner. You have already reached out to the property owner. I would suggest that
Well, they
they're
have
in
an
the audience
opportunity
to come up here and grant us permission because we're not going to chase them down. I mean, we've already sent a letter and we're going to start this process and we're trying to do this as fairly as possible.
So you want to make, you should get a motion on the table?
Yep, to continue this to the 26th, and hopefully the staff will have had the opportunity to visit this site and report back to us.
I'll second that.
Motion by Betsy, second by Mark. Questions?
Is the motion for everything or just the two for?
No, just the two,
Okay.
first two.
All the
That's number one. Any other comments, questions from the public? Hey, Mike, you gotta go up to the, yeah, no problem.
Mike, this doesn't concern yours. You're coming in group 3.
Okay.
You can talk, but
Well,
I,
it'll be the same thing.
okay.
Hi, Mike Miller, Davisville Road, and my wife and I have lot 542. And that, part of that lot has been cut. Mr. Lasordo sold those lots 8 years ago. And at the time, he had, well, I remember a conversation that he had been cutting this, or his family had been cutting it for a number of years. And so there was a discussion as to whether there could possibly be a trade-off where this clearing the way it is could be modified slightly or left the same, as long as all the other people agreed to not make any new cuttings or destroy any existing wetlands. I just thought I'd put that out there. I mean, it's a new board, everything's all new, so whatever, I just thought I'd put it out there.
Mike, you're talking about the path further down
The one
that's
that-
there.
well, it's the
That's
one-
not what I'm talking about
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now.
okay.
I'm talking about the house that's there and the log
Oh, no,
that's
no, I
there.
wasn't talking about that, I was talking
Yeah,
about.
I know where you're talking about.
342, I'm sorry.
So,
We're not
So I
there
should
yet.
wait till the 30 or.
There you go.
yes, group 3, Mike. I got this, so where's that plan? Where's the big plan? Oh, yeah.
Over here.
So Mike's talking,
Yeah,
I'm
he's talking
talking
down
about this
here.
lot and this lot,
Right, he's talking down here.
and he's talking that lot down there. Yeah.
Anything else from the public? So we got a motion on the table to continue until the 26th. Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Next up is Fred and Catherine Ravens, Lot 531, Shoreview Ave, East Falmouth, Mass, for clearing and altering wetland resource area and a buffer to a resource area as defined in FWR 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00. Jen?
Okay, this property owner has 4 of those strips of land that Mr. Miller was just discussing. You can see it on the plan that Betsy has in front of her. This is what makes this particular enforcement so difficult, is it just went right over 11, I think, 9 different properties because of the way they were configured way back when. The Ravens own 4 of those strips. That is identified in the aerial plan that you have, Mr. Chairman, but we kind of marked it on Betsy's plan. That's an updated parcel map plan than that what you have, yeah. So again, we would suggest, we would recommend continuing it till October 26th, so the staff has time to go out to the properties, evaluate what has been done, and give a report to the commission. Again, it's only fair to the applicant that we don't make assumptions of what happened when we can't see. And 2, it's fair to the board so you get an accurate assessment from your staff. We spoke to the Ravens yesterday. My hope would be, I believe they're in the audience, my hope would be that they would give us permission to access the property. But again, they are going to have to contact the staff.
So I move that
Yep.
we continue this to the 26th.
Second.
A motion by Betsy and a second by Mary to continue to the 26th. Any other comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Yes, sir. Just, you gotta come to the microphone and just give your name for the record.
Fred Ravens, Catherine Ravens. We wonder, are we going to get any input before that time? Or are there going to be any discussion with us? I talked to Mark yesterday, and I got some, I thought he said that there's going to be some discussion about this. I was surprised that he wasn't here today.
No, Jen is here with us right now.
Well, Mr. Evans, there's really nothing, all we have is the photographs we've taken from the road. So in fairness to you, we're asking you, as we told you yesterday, that we need to go out to the site and look at it a little bit more closely, because I can't see further down near the water, so I don't know what happened down there. Okay, I want to see where that salt marsh line is and how that was impacted. Mark and I will take that information, come back and present it to the board, and you can discuss it at that time if you choose to refute whatever it is that Mark and I say. We are not prepared to make any recommendations to the board tonight or even discuss what happened, because all we can see is from the road. So it's fair to you to allow us to go out there, so we're not saying you need to do this, this, and this when it may or may not be necessary. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, but as I explained yesterday, once we make a recommendation for an enforcement order to this board, and the board agrees to that and issues one, that those time periods are going to be set, they're going to be quick, and they're going to have to be adhered to, or the matter, because of the number of property owners, and will be referred to council, and that's how we do enforcement orders. If they're not met, I'm not fooling around, we just automatically send it over to Attorney Duffy's office and let them deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay? But I
So-
mean, it would help if you were out there with us, so you can show us exactly where those little strips are, because we have a plan, they look like they're 10 feet wide. You know, without getting a surveyor out there, we want to make sure that we're documenting correctly. And I know it's tough out there, because some people don't even, you know, realize how wide these strips are, so, okay?
So you'll invite us to go out with you?
You're gonna contact my office tomorrow, and we'll
Oh,
set up an
okay.
appointment to go out there,
All right.
okay?
All right.
Okay, you need to call us,
All right.
okay?
Yes, sir.
My name is Tom Pender, and I own one of the lots on that area. It's lot 544, and I didn't see that,
That wasn't affected, so.
that was not affected. That was just my concern.
No,
That
if you
was affected.
don't, okay, so you're right here. I don't believe you were affected. I think it was basically north of where that original path that Mr. Miller was talking about, where the foundation is, north of that. Okay? I don't believe that site was affected. That's not one of the ones we originally documented or contacted. Okay?
Okay, you all set? Okay. Anything else? You good, Mr. Ravens? You all set, Mr. Ravens? You all set? You understand? Okay. So we got a motion, a second on the table. I'm going to call for the vote to continue to the 26th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. So on the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're going to do them all at one time. I'm not going to read every one of them. I'm just going to read the first one, then I'll read the names. So Cardoza Rios Construction, Inc., care of Roberto Rios, lots 531, 535, 536, 537, 538, 539, 540, 541, and 542 Shoreview Ave, and 22 and 26 Shoreview Ave, East Falmouth, Mass, for clearing and altering wetland resource area in a buffer to a resource area as defined in FWR 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00. And
Mr.
also,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, you just should say the last names too, so if people are here, they know that
yeah, I
this
was
is
just
the
going to
group
do
that
that. I was
they're
going
in.
to go through the next, but just, I'm not going to read the whole.
No, you
So-
don't have to read them.
Ellen Davis, trustee, and that's 32 Emmons Road Trust, lot 535. William and Cecile Coffey, lot 536, Shoreview Ave. Peter and Judith Hurwitz, lot 537, Shoreview Ave. Michael and Amy McGrath, lot 538, Shoreview Ave. Michael and Michelle Banks, lot 539. Janet Milley, trustee, and Janet M. Milley, revocable trust, lot 540. William Collins, lot 541. Michael and Kathleen Miller, lot 542. Those are all Shoreview Ave. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, to start off, the only people the staff has not heard from are the Millies at lot 540 and Collins at 541. The staff has spoken with and has email correspondence with the rest of the property owners, and we have spoken with CR Construction. Again, that we would ask the property owners to grant the staff permission so we can adequately address what happened out there, so we don't make a recommendation to the board that may or may not be necessary. The thing is we can't see from the road on the other side of that foundation, so I have no idea what CR Construction, how close to the water they came, and what was done. Mark and I, at this point, are discussing different options to recommend to the board, but I'm going to hold those until we go out to the site. So I hope that if the people are in the audience and people that already sent us emails, if they could send us an email granting us permission to go on the property, that would be great. That way we can give the board an adequate factual recommendation and not have them vote a enforcement order and have to go through this process all over again to comply with the enforcement order. It's better for us to go out there and kind of get a handle of what's going on so that we can move forward in as quickly as possible, because the whole point is to make sure that the health of the resource area is maintained.
So I make a motion that we continue this hearing until the 26th of October.
Second.
Hang on.
She's going to put a motion on the table and then public comment.
And I have another comment.
Okay.
And my comment is, if any of you are in the audience whose name is on this list, please grant permission either tonight through a letter or by email tomorrow with Jen,
Verbally is fine as well.
so that she
Process
can,
going.
so staff can go on and make a report to us on the 26th.
Move the process along. Any other comments? Any other comment?
Just to, for the, oh, sorry.
Sorry. Betsy, I need a second.
Second.
Somebody did.
Ori.
More.
Maureen? Okay.
Whoever. Mary, Mary.
Good, Susan?
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, the emails correspondence we have from the group that you just read, or the discussions we had, each of the people we spoke with sent an email, spoke with the staff saying they had absolutely no knowledge that this was happening on their property. So it's also a trespass issue, but that's a civil matter.
Okay. All right, any comments from the public? I'll get you next, Mike.
Now you can talk about your path.
I'm on the right path, yes.
I know all about the
I'm on the
path.
wrong path all the time.
It's okay.
My name is Shirley Sullivan, and I live in the Belmar area that we were talking about. Just had a question in regards to C&R Construction, Inc. It looks like they're noted as owning several lots.
No, they don't own, they were just the construction company that was hired to do that. They do not own property out there. Oh, they might. I'm sorry. No, that was all the properties that,
You know what,
the
it's
lots
just the
are
way it
all
was
the,
worded.
it's just the way it's worded.
It
All
probably
those
should have
lots
put
are-
work at
Yeah.
lots.
They don't work, yeah, they did work at those lots.
That-
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Mike?
Yep. I got the bookcase. Now that we're, Mike Miller, Davisville Road, and now that we're on the right path. First, I'd like to just say, by all means, you have my permission.
Thank you, Mike, I
I'll
appreciate
send an
that.
email.
Thank you.
And secondly, I just want to bring up, now that we know where we are, the reason for that path originally, and I don't know how far back it goes, was because there are a lot of boat moorings there, and people in the neighborhood use those boats. So I think the access was key.
I mean, the access is over, I believe it looks like Collins, it spans a couple of areas, I mean, it is.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 lots.
Yeah, I mean, the staff will go out, that's been a path there forever. I would rather have one established path for use by the neighborhood than 8 little teeny paths through these little strips of property. It's not good for the marsh. It's a fairly healthy marsh out there. It's protecting this area. If you had Hurricane Matthew flying up the coast, that marsh would help with that impact, that storm surge. So we'll go out and look at that, Mike, but right now we have no intention of requiring that path to be restored. We know it's there for the neighborhood, and it's a good thing. As long as there's no additional damage out there, we're fine.
I just want to say, Mike and I discovered we were in the same freshman college English class.
It was too boring for her, so she went to a better university.
But I also want to say, I was on the board
Yes.
way back when this was first discussed, so was Court Nate's.
Yeah.
Maury may not have been on at this
I
point.
think she was, yeah.
But we do remember this path, and we.
Yeah.
I wasn't here back then, but you guys were.
No, yes, you were.
Yes, you
Oh, I
were.
must-
Yeah, you were.
Because we
Yeah,
agreed
you
that
were.
this was a much better idea.
Oh, yeah, okay.
For all of you who have this, that this is your access to the coast. So,
Institutional knowledge.
yeah.
Apparently mine's going.
Okay, anyone else from the public want to speak? Mike?
My name is Michael B. McGrath. According to the Registry of Deeds, the enforcement action is against Michael F. McGrath. Would you please correct your records, because I've already been confronted in the coffee shop.
Michael, it does, where are you?
Third from the top.
I'm here, right here.
Well, I know that, but it doesn't say B or F, so I think you're just
Add the
being,
word, add the initial F.
oh, you're being overly sensitive.
I don't like being put after the coffee shop that I fell wet.
I think it's hilarious, but.
I was actually told by somebody on the street, did you know Mike McGrath's name's on that list? I said, no, I didn't.
Oh, it was only you, Mike. That was just me.
You must
Just
appreciate the
poetic.
irony.
So again, if anybody is in the audience, thank you, Mr. Miller, for that. If you want to contact the office tomorrow, if you don't want to stand up, I get that. Just contact us tomorrow. A number of people sent emails, and just let us know. Again, it will make it so much easier going forward, and we won't have to prolong this. If not, we will get prolonged. You will be compelled to let us access the property by our council, and I just don't want to go down that route. So if everybody could cooperate with us, that would be great, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything else from the public? Everybody's good, so we have a motion and a second on the table. To continue to the 26th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much. Next enforcement issue that is up is OCW Retail Falmouth LLC, care of Kelly Burke, 137 T-Ticket Highway, Falmouth, Mass., for clearing, altering wetland resource area in a buffer to a resource area as defined in FWR 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00. You know what, I think that's a good idea. We'll take a 1-minute recess.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sam. Is that open or closed? Oh, closed now. It's just awfully warm in this room.
I know. Okay, so OCW, I already read it, so.
Yes, so that is the mall.
Yes.
So the mall has a significant wetland alteration on that. And we are currently working with representatives of the mall to determine the amount and extent that was cleared. We are working with Mr. McGrath's firm and Maria, have you been contacted? Yep, Maria Hickey, and we'll be meeting with them in the near future to get a jump on your enforcement issue, which we're going to recommend an enforcement action, but we're going to get a jump on it by going out, evaluating the site with their representatives, getting a site plan in place, getting a restoration plan in place, probably prior to you even voting the enforcement order. Mark and I should have this pretty well set at that point.
So you want to continue it?
To November 9th. They have requested one, and I
Make a
said the other day it was fine.
Make a motion to continue to November 9th.
Second.
So we have a second by Mary, motion by Betsy, a second by Mary. Any other comments, questions from the board?
Apparently, I don't know what month November falls in. Okay.
Courtney?
Could I just have a quick rundown on the circumstances? I realize we're gonna go through it, but, maybe a 2-minute summary.
Basically, and I don't have the dates in front of me, I grabbed every enforcement file, apparently but them all. Was it a week, 2 weeks ago? We were notified that there was cutting going on at the mall. Apparently, I believe Mike, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. McGrath's firm had gone out there to do some work, seen Maffey Landscaping out there doing work, asked them to stop because they did not have a permit to work in the area they were. The next day, the staff went out there. The company was out there again, even after being told, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, did you tell them to go? Did you tell them to leave the site?
No, I told them to
checked with the mall because they didn't.
Okay, sorry. So they didn't have a permit. We went out there the following day. The company was out there. We asked them to leave. Mark put a cease and desist on them. I'm not quite sure if they left or just stopped, but when I believe representatives from Mr. McGrath's company went back out that same day after Mark had originally said to stop, they were still out there cutting, which is the last enforcement order you have. I would like to know why, when instructed by the Conservation Department, they kept working in a wetland area.
Okay, I haven't read that one in the.
No, you
record
have
yet.
not, but that's
Okay, we're
Courtney's
talking
quick
the
summary.
first one.
Thank you.
And all set. Courtney? Betsy?
So while we're on that subject, I have a question. Those of you who have to get permits or have to get business licenses to do these things,
I would do, yeah, go on.
is there a mechanism for companies, it seems that we see certain companies more often than others who don't get correct permits or don't follow the orders on the permits, is there a mechanism to report these to the licensing agency?
That's a PAC question, and when you read the next one into the record, you can make a determination of whether you want to refer this to council to look into that.
Okay.
I mean, it's a private company, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
that's something.
presumably, don't
that's
companies
something we
need to
can-
have some kind of permission to work
Yep.
within?
That's something we can discuss with
I
council.
don't know what kind of licensing there is in landscaping.
You-
I don't know
Yes,
if
you do.
it's
Every,
local
any
business.
any business that works in a town is supposed to go to a town hall and get a license to operate.
Okay.
Okay, so,
But that's just
Hardly
the
anybody
clerk's
does,
office.
but I mean.
so I know we haven't gotten to that yet.
That's
but
a discussion for the
Susan
next
heard what
one.
I had to say, so when we get to the next one, that's what.
Is there a
I want.
representative from Martha?
Yeah, I'm just gonna read it to the record, Courtney. I just wanna wrap this one up here first.
Yeah,
So,
so the mall will be working with them to get
That's-
it done.
Second on the table for
The mall obviously knows they need a permit now.
so we have a motion and a second.
Whole new one.
And so it'll be continued to November 9th, and hopefully by that time, we'll at least have a plan and a restoration plan to present to you at that time, and we'll just be one up on the enforcement order we recommend that you issue.
Okay. All right, so anything else from the board? Mike, got anything to say on this one? No? Michael F. McGrath, I'm sorry.
Michael B. McGrath.
Michael B.
That's fine, for the mall, yeah.
All right, you addressing this,
This particular.
okay, because we have two here.
OCW Realty Falmouth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Matt Joyce. I'm with the Wilder Companies. We are the managing agent for OCW
Okay.
Falmouth. Work with Kelly Burke. We work with Mike extensively, Maria now as well. And we really had no intention of intruding on this wetland to the extent that, at any extent. People have brought up, since this happened, that some snow was pushed there about 2 years ago, some work that shouldn't have been done at that point. I've been around this property, familiar with this property for about 6 years for Wilder. At that time, I was not handling this particular portfolio, but had I known about that incident with the snow pushing 2 years ago, and I guess the importance of this area, that we now know, we would have made the phone calls and gone through the proper routes. So Matthew Landscaping, who's up next, is a contractor of ours for the past 2 years. They've worked at our directive, my directive, and it involved the impetus for it all. It involved some encampments and homeless encampments that have been moving around the wooded areas, and we were trying to get our arms around a safety issue, but it's a different issue. And this was really the reason for starting that, but we'll work toward getting the restoration plan in place, and obviously walk the property with you and Mark.
Well, I mean, the area was identified a wetland back when the whole snow pushing place went down, and I believe it was Officer Martinson that had your plows stop and that's a frightening thing in itself to be stopped by that man, so.
Yeah, I was not
I
familiar
mean,
with
he's
that.
6'4", so
That work
I mean, he's an
and some
imposing
of that
figure.
Restorative work.
So-
At that time, I was not familiar.
No, that's fine. We'll
But-
work through the process, we'll
Absolutely.
work through the restoration plan.
Yeah, we have every intention of
Okay.
doing that, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? We have a motion and second on the table, all those, since nothing else from the public, call for the vote. All those in favor to continue till November 9th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Next up is Maffey Landscaping, care of John Figmike, 137 T-Ticket Highway, Falmouth, Mass, for clearing, altering wetland resource area and a buffer resource to resource areas as defined in FWR 10.00 and 310 CMR 10.00.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just explained what happened. Maffey was informed by the applicant's representative that it was a wetland area and to see if they had a permit. That was the day before the Concom went out there. We asked them to cease and desist. That unfortunately didn't happen. I'd like an explanation why. They went back out there to work on the site even after Mark had instructed a cease and desist. This is troublesome to the staff because I work with John, I work with some members of Maffey, and they're constantly calling me to go out and look at simple sites that they're kind of concerned with and everything. So I was a little distressed because I thought we had gotten to a point where, you guys can call me. So I'd just like to know why that was, and the board can decide. I don't think you should make a decision tonight, but you can think about it and decide what you'd like to do going forward. I wouldn't make a
Just
decision in
identify
the
yourself for the
heat
record.
of a moment or anything like that. Just hear what Maffey has to say and do that. But, I've worked with John on the in for seasons. I've worked with some other gentlemen from Maffey, and, we've done okay. So that's why this was very, very troubling to me, John.
Well, I don't disagree. Good morning, or excuse me, good evening. John Figmick from Maffey Landscape. And yes, Jen is absolutely correct. We've worked with her. I haven't worked too much with Mark, but mostly with Jen on some projects for in-seasons and the McCabe's and some other folks. Unfortunately, in this particular instance, I was not present during the work, and nor was I in the area. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for I'll use the term generous call from Mark to Bob Maffey, our folks on that site, and there were a number of different folks doing a number of different things that day, from lawn mowing to mowing some wildflower areas to doing this particular work that we were asked to do and not aware that we should not have been doing. Just really, and it's not a wonderful excuse, but just not me being there and the crews just not being familiar with that area that they were working in. By the time I got there, it was about 1 o'clock. In terms of the next day, again, crews just went back to pick up the debris. There was no more cutting, but they did go back to pick up the debris that second day, which probably should not have been done. But above and beyond that, the cutting did stop that first day.
So do you
John,
have
who was your-
management?
oh, I'm
Do you have management on the job itself? Do you have a
That's
supervisor? Do you have somebody that's responsible that would be with the mowing crew?
There are foremen on foremen on each and every crew, for the mowing crews, the flower crews, the various crews that do these sorts of things. So to some extent, and again, it's difficult, unfortunately, me not being right there that day, to know which crew might have seen which person and talked to which person. Decidedly, the going back to pick the stuff up, the debris that was cut, that was Ben and I sending somebody back out there to just try and clean up, we certainly weren't doing any more cutting.
So if a town official were to approach a crew out there, is there a series of events that must take place? Do they have to contact you? I mean, obviously, you've got men out there, you're paying guys, I understand that.
Yeah.
But who's accountable? In other words, an official comes out from conservation and says, hey, stop.
Yep.
They should stop. And then
Exactly.
what happens then?
Exactly. So what they need to do then is to either get hold of me or get hold of Mr. Maffey at the office. Unfortunately, by the time that came back around that day, it was probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon before either of us happened to be available. And really just, I wish I had a better way of saying it, just a horrible series of timing for us. As I say, we do a lot of restoration work with Jen and for folks that need to make things right for you. So we're not entirely unfamiliar. We don't, it's not that we don't know what to do or how to do it. It was just a terrible series of timing for this, and I wish I could say something different.
It's making things right by the bylaw that's in the town, not by us. We just.
No,
that's what it is.
John, my concern is that when your crew was spoken to by a representative from Homes and McGrath and made aware that a permit was needed, they still went back out there the next day.
I'm happy to,
That
aspect I'm decidedly happy to look into.
That needs to be looked into, as
Absolutely.
well as maybe some training for your foreman
There you go.
so they know what a wetland is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I get that if they're not right on the ocean, they might not.
Well, you know what, actually, I was just gonna say.
That area is pretty wet, and, they need some training, or they shouldn't be working in these areas. Or if you have a site like the mall, you know there are wetlands out there, you need to be responsible to tell your crew, these are the areas you need to stay away from.
And you know what, and I won't disagree, again, because you and I work together.
You and I have had a good working relationship, but I mean, this falls on you guys. It
Exactly.
really does.
No,
And
I understand.
It upset us, because it was like, come on, guys.
I would even go so far as to tell you in that particular area, if I, and I don't know who knows the particular site or particular area, but just across the road is a fenced-in, that even makes sense to me. I must say, even I need a little more
That whole
updating.
site's built on a wetland, let's put it that way. But I mean, your company needs to be aware that when you're working on fairly large properties like the mall property.
There's a potential.
And there are sensitive areas that you need to inform your staff and your foreman, these are the areas you need to stay away from.
Right.
Because I know a few of my commissioners are upset. The staff we're upset, and the board's gonna decide what course of action to take with the company.
Well, we'll be
but-
working with
Yeah.
the owners, obviously, to
Good.
put things back
So
together.
just from an internal thing, just,
Yep.
be aware of the properties your guys are working on, the sensitive areas, and maybe train some of the less informed foremen what an isolated wetland
I agree.
looks like.
I agree.
Doesn't always look like a beach or a dune or.
Yep, and
The
as I say,
ocean.
even in that respect, in this learning experience for me, because I look at the area we looked at and went, oh, really? Okay. So, there.
That area's kind of tough out there, but still, they need to know.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely something for us to learn, definitely something that we certainly had no intention of causing a problem with either. And we're going to work with, obviously, with the mall owners to put it back together and to continue trying to do the good work that we've done with Jen and some other folks in my office with Mark so that we don't have these kind of issues. And again, we apologize. It's certainly not a problem that we wanted to cause. And we've turned down folks that have called us before when we know something is wrong and they don't have the permits in place. We don't go do it, we turn it down. We did it in this case because we didn't think there was an issue in this particular area. So something for us to learn.
Betsy?
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm concerned with. It's hard to figure out I don't expect the general public to be able to identify everything that's a wetland under our jurisdiction. I'll tell you what bothers me the most, and this has happened with a couple of other big companies in town, where the staff's gone out and issued enforcement orders, and then the staff leaves, and the company continues the work. And I know one of the companies in town, Jen and Mark were out of town at one point, and I was chairman at the time, and I went to I'll tell you who it was afterwards, and I went to the head of the company, and I said, what kind of training do you have for your foreman to handle a situation when they're given a cease and desist? And that particular company did have certain kinds of training, and he said, people didn't do the right thing. But he said, I'm glad you brought it up. It's one of these things that companies need, as you know, I mean, you're in a company, you think, well, I've already told these people, and then you have a new group of people, you know, you don't remember, but that was, they're the sons of the original people who worked.
No, you're absolutely
are
right.
there.
You're absolutely right. And as I say, this, for us, we have an entire training program that we go through aside from trying to get our folks to do MCLP and things of that nature. But, you know, there are bits and pieces that come up every day that you would never think of. And quite frankly, this for me is certainly one to put together for our staff in terms of, can I use the term inland wetland areas? Is that even a made up thing? But that and these sorts of, hey, I'm from so-and-so, and please stop what you're doing, because quite frankly, 99 times out of 100, our condominium complexes and places that we work at, it's actually just the opposite training that the fellas get, because they're only supposed to answer to the board, and so many people come out and say, can do this, don't do that. And we actually, for those circumstances, we're training them 100% to the opposite. Don't listen to whoever it is that comes out. It's Mrs. Smith and Mr. Jones, and they're the board, and that's who you take direction from. So this is a learning experience for me to come up with something for the company to say, yeah, that works there, but not with this circumstance.
It's the town official. And
I would say town
Yeah.
officials,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
they can
not
listen to us.
Very
Random condo owner.
No, not at all. As I say, I have,
Identify
this whole aspect of a town official coming to stop them, I have to look into, because this is the first I've heard of it. That's one part I don't know about, aside from Mark being nice enough to make a call to our office.
Yeah.
Mark?
I just had one recommendation, only because that area with the snow plowing debacle, which actually was more difficult because it was covered in snow, and I'm sure nobody even knew there was a wetland there. This one a little different. Maybe areas like this need signage, you know, once we
And
give like that.
Something.
I thought for some reason, I thought when we did the snow plow,
I thought we did.
Yeah.
we said to have signs.
There's posted signs that say
Yes.
conservation area, no cutting.
Okay.
Wildflower area.
Okay.
But you're.
But right there, all along the edge of the whole area that was cut.
All right, I thought when I went down there once, I saw them, but I didn't know how extensive.
We've created some wildflower.
Wildflower
beds.
gardens.
Yeah, for wildflower meadow areas.
Replace the grass, what was just being cut as grass.
Yeah.
We planted them as wildflower beds. That's where we put those conservation area, no cut.
Well, I would make a recommendation to you as the responsible party, that maybe you have a training session with who you hire.
Correct.
And that would be helpful. Thank you. We're all on learning curves.
Courtney?
I've been in the construction business for 30 years, and there are a number of other people on this board that are in the same business. And as a matter of fact, I've worked in a number of different jurisdictions and towns on the Cape, and been on projects where I was a general contractor and you did the landscaping. So I know you guys have been around, you've got a firm with a good reputation, and you're sizable, and sometimes with being sizable, some things get out of your control. And I know exactly what you're talking about with condominium owners and so on, and those kinds of instructions are very real, because otherwise it drives you crazy and you end up doing a lot of work that you didn't have to, and then you get paid, and I hear it all. But as a landscaping company, you guys should be far more sensitive to environmental issues than an average subcontractor. I mean, you should, your folks, your staff, your management should be aware of regulations, they should be aware of what wetlands are, much more so, because that's your business. And I would echo the comments that you do need to develop a whole new policy range to deal with situations like this, because you don't need this kind of publicity.
Right.
It's not good for your business.
Exactly, and it's not anything we want either. So
No, of course
obviously,
you
that's
don't.
why we're here to work it through and fix it.
And I would hope, I think that I would ask the board that part of our enforcement order is to see your policy once you've developed it, so we know you've written it.
Actually, a good suggestion.
Yeah. You know what, maybe give him a handful of cards too. I mean, it's a phone
John,
call,
I
it's a phone
don't-
call, that's easy.
Oh, no, I know how to get Jen.
No?
I have no, I have,
Yeah, but you
You're
weren't
not the
there.
problem.
That-
You weren't
right.
there.
yeah,
So maybe foremen need to have them.
yeah, yep.
And if there's ever
But I
a
mean,
question,
you
they'll
you
squish
do,
the ground.
you need to develop procedures that cover
I agree
this
with
sort
you.
of thing.
Yep,
I
agree.
mean, mistakes happen, but then it's how they're
Then you
reported
fix it.
to immediately.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
And-
I'm gonna think about this and see, you might just get a letter from us, I don't know, well, the board can think about what they wanna
Can we continue
do.
this to November 9th also?
Yeah, we're gonna continue this to November 9th, so nobody's making a
Okay, that's my motion.
knee-jerk reaction, and we'll go from there. If you wanna give me a call anytime to discuss, you know, training or anything for the future, just let me know.
Absolutely, no, that'd be
You
perfect.
guys have been really good for the past couple of years, you know, I've worked with you for the past couple of
Absolutely.
years and your other guys, so.
Well, I think,
Like I said, that's why it was a little distressing to the staff, and we were like, what are you guys doing out there?
I would tell you honestly, the coastal banks and those kind of areas, I think we have down pretty pat.
Yep.
Whatever you can offer
Yep.
in this instance, I'll take you up on it, because even I need the help,
Okay,
so.
yep, so we're gonna continue to November 9th.
Okay, all right.
Second.
Got a motion by Betsy and a second by Mary.
Thank you,
Kristen,
John.
you have
for
something?
addressing.
Yeah, I just, not to let him off the hook, but it seems like the person who hired him at the mall knows this is a wetland area. And I don't understand why all the focus is on the person they hired. I mean, yes, you should have known better. But the owners of the mall knew last winter when this was,
Oh, yeah, that's what I just
They
told
knew
that
that.
gentleman. Yep,
and they
Understood.
hired him to work in that area. And
no, absolutely.
I think there's, like, the blame is being pushed over to
No,
somebody who did the
no,
work.
I think, no, it's not. I think
Both responsible.
the staff's concern and the staff's reasoning for sending Murphy a letter was because they went back out there after we told them to
Yeah, I
stop.
understand
And that
that.
needed to be addressed.
But,
When
I mean, yeah.
the mall, yeah, they were aware.
Yeah,
That
'cause
last
if
year
they
it was
didn't
a
go
while.
out, they probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yep,
Murphy wouldn't be right here now. If they stopped, boom, you know, after Mark told them,
yeah.
so. Okay, so I got a motion by Betsy and a second by Mary on the table. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, to continue to November 9th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Jen, if you have 1 second for me to just mention something about,
Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me finish this hearing with
Yep.
them, and then I can meet you for 5 minutes.
Sure, just take 1 second.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, we have vote order of conditions, 1 Southview Way, Garrison.
Serious? Does he think he's
Same quorum,
Same forum?
dentry?
I believe. I ripped up my, oh, no, I didn't. I thought I ripped up my quorum sheets. Yeah, right.
Weird?
Everybody is.
No, Jamie, Mary, Russ, Betsy, Kristen, Courtney.
No,
That's everybody.
Mark,
No, not
Mark's
me.
not there.
Maury's
not
not
here.
straight.
And Maury's
Oh,
not
I
there.
was
Mark
in
and
here.
Maury.
Yeah.
I was here though.
Well, there you
Oh,
go, that's
that
everybody.
You guys
Betsy's
wanna
like,
leave?
everybody was here, I was here.
You guys want to leave?
I
You're welcome
I
to.
did sign everything.
I have something, don't go away, Maury, because, well, this will be quick. I have
Okay.
one thing.
Okay.
All right, Jen.
Hang on. Give me a minute, Mr. Chairman, my brain hurts right now. Oh, self-food, okay. Monitoring report, so basically, this was Teresa's plan to kind of open up that patio area, take some of those plantings, kind of shift them around. Basically, I think the only special condition we had, they are supposed to submit a monitoring report to us in October. I would suggest that that be submitted, and then as soon as they do the work, submit a monitoring report right away, and then have a monitoring requirement. But other than that, I don't remember having too many.
And he submitted a new plan with the stairs, the
Yep.
steps down the way you
Yep,
want to.
that was submitted, and I think it's just the monitoring requirement on Teresa's plan.
And did they want to do some cutting there by the back of the house, Jen?
They wanted to transplant stuff that was.
No, they were transplanting.
Oh, okay.
So you
Yeah,
see
some
where
of
that
these
blue
things are
area
gonna
is on
transplant.
Teresa's plan?
Really tall.
All that's already vegetated. They want to remove all of that healthy plethora and use that to plant in some of the sparser areas on that bank, and then plant the low bush blueberry in that area. So it's not like they're just removing the plants, they're going to
Place.
harvest them and move them around the property.
Reposition them and add more plants.
Yeah, basically.
I move that we accept this discussed.
Second.
Oh, wait, I'm like, I have the word alternative written down. That had to do with the stairs.
Yeah, but he did it on the new plan.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, yeah.
Remember
All
the
right.
preferred,
Yeah.
Courtney gave me a little instruction on how to.
Yeah, the skirt.
On the
Yeah,
skirts.
skirts,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Okay. So we have a motion by Betsy and a second by Jamie to approve as discussed. Any other comments or questions? Okay.
Mike, is John still out there?
Hearing none, I'm going
John?
to call for the vote.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Nope.
No.
I have something to say.
Oh, okay.
This is really quick. This is just,
I thought it was
this is
after.
just an update for you that I'm meeting with people with APCC, and I've met with the 300 committee to work on the Heritage Trail.
Trail.
So just to let you know, we're working on.
Moving forward.
Sam, you'll get to see me in a week or two. So we're moving ahead and trying to get funding for that as well. And that's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, as always.
Yes. Great.
Now I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Maury and a second by Mary to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. We're adjourned.
Look, and we made it in time.